Hello, everyone. This is the Duke, and I will be giving a very short commentary on a specific individual in the public eye in the UK, um, a political figure called Diane Abbott, the MP for North Hackney and Stoke Newington in London, and she is known as the Shadow Secretary of the Labour Party, so the opposition. And she is what I would describe as not dangerous, but problematic. A problematic figure in the UK, in UK politics, you know? And from what I've gathered and her past history, she has racialized her politics rather than focus on very core issues. And I don't know if that's her role, is to just make everything about ethnicity and attacking based on race, because she's playing a very shrewd tactic right now in this climate that we're living in right now. Dealing with the pandemic and this lockdown, and just not knowing what will happen next, and whatever. But now she's spinning around social media, talking about how black and Asian and Muslims should unite because the white people are apparently using the divide and rule card, whatever that means. But right here, I'll show you a video so you could check it out real quickly. Is what she says.
Asian, minority ethnic, and Muslim people. We need unity between black, Asian, minority ethnic, and Muslim peoples. We need the maximum public show of unity, because time after time in the past 32 years, I've seen efforts for people of color to organize disrupted by white people playing the divide and rule card. And this time we can't allow that to happen. We need you.
What the hell is she talking about? And apparently she's made this point before. She said this before, back in 2012. This has been said before. I don't know what's going on with this woman. What point is she trying to make right now? We're dealing with, serious cases after the ease of the lockdown and people trying to get back to work. What game is she playing right now? Is this a political ploy that has been, you know, coined by the Labour Party, because that's all they've been doing right now? Identity politics, victim Olympics. Are we done with this? Can we focus on core issues? I'm a black British person. I really want to, figure out what the best solutions, politically. What can we focus on? And this woman makes it her role to turn everything racial. Like, what do you gain from this? She's living in a social media stratosphere of just hypersensitivity to every little thing. I mean, I know what racism looks like. We all know what racism looks like. Why are we foiling everything? Being militant about race on a political level. Every time I see her speak, she raises up racial, ethnic, migrant tactics. And, people may say, okay, she's the MP for her borough, which is, ethnically diverse. I grew up in the area, she runs as an MP, that she represents. I know how diverse that area is. It has the different ethnic groups, first generation or, working migrants who, aren't we're not a monolith. Why enforce an idea that we must unite. Like when you say unite, you have to recognize these are groups that are just essentially non-white, and that's like over, I don't know, 100 different groups you're talking about. We have our differences, different cultures, different customs. When you say unite, what does that even mean? Against a common enemy? Who's our enemy? The majority? For example, Black Brits make up about, from the last approximate census, we make up about 3.5% of the population. Different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different socioeconomic brackets, different views. We literally are splitting, from left or right to center. Why? What essentially are we fighting against? This isn't like American politics where things are racialized because of that entrenched history. But in the UK, we've dealt with that period of, and the UK has seen its own curtains of friction based on ethnicity. The Irish, the Caribbeans, the Windrush, all that scenario. We're living in a very different era. Brexit came along, and it was essentially based on disconnecting from the EU and leveling the playing field, where both Commonwealth and EU citizens are on the same level playing field when it comes to migration. We've heard the charade and the fiasco based on xenophobic, content, but the truth is, nothing has changed for ethnic minorities in this country in terms of opportunity, in terms of what we had before Brexit and whatnot. The sentiments may be there, but we move on. What is she playing on right now? I'm going to bring up one thing. Apparently, if I could find it, I think I might have a link of Diane Abbott being, she was caught out for having IRA views, the Irish Resistance Alliance back in, 30 years ago, about how she was in support of the IRA bombings and the tearing down of the British establishment. But essentially she was younger then, and she said that she had different views then, but she was essentially in that position where she is very polarized, and that could be dangerous, and she's playing on it. Maybe she's getting a little too comfortable with her rhetoric. She doesn't know how damaging and harmful it can be to ethnic minorities if you play on it. It's not about being afraid of what comes next. It's about being like, you have to make sense. I know what racism is. If I need to, raise awareness to an issue, we can raise awareness to an issue. Is it there? What is on our issue? People are saying that the pandemic was is affecting minorities more in the UK. Is it because we're being targeted more? Is it because we're being neglected more? No. Literally, I've researched as much as I can on it, and the data they pull out is very easy to create a narrative. It's very easy to play a narrative, and it comes in favor of a political, strategy. If they want to make it seem as if we're victims of this because we're being targeted, they will. Even if there isn't a direct link. We've all gone to school. We know what correlation means, and it's not always a causation. But you see these political figures, they play along with this all the time. Trying to find a video of her basically brushing over her views from years ago. Somewhere here. I was trying to avoid coming on here. It's a long clip. I feel like she could be a very problematic, dangerous person to have in politics right now. We don't need someone like this representing
you regret your support for the IRA right back in the 80s?
That particular quote you're referring to comes from a now defunct left newspaper, and it had, as well as this. No. But what I'm saying to you is this: it was 34 years ago. I had a rather splendid afro at the time. I don't have the same hairstyle.
What?
And I don't have the same views. It is 34 years on. The hairstyle is gone, and some of the views have gone.
She said she called for the abolition of conspiratorial groups like MI5 and Special Branch, which are not accountable to the British people. Signed by Diane Abbott.
At that time, I and a lot of people felt that MI5 needed reforming. It has since been reformed, and of course I would not call for its abolition now.
Yeah, it's fair enough to have a view that might have been associated with a different climate back then. She said 34 years ago. This was made video. This interview was back in 2017, so just over close to 40 years now. And she's saying, yeah, she had a different point of view back in the day, but you see how she coined it and how she associated her hairstyle to her point of view. I mean, people can say, oh, that's just a play on her word, but this woman goes on the media answering questions, making several mistakes, because I've watched basically all the interviews I could find online, and she just does not represent the Labour Party to the best they can offer. Because I've read people saying that having Diana Abbott represent Labour Party in the front lines of the opposition is the best thing for the Tories, because it out of just knowing how ignorant and how damaging her words can be, it's scary to think that she represents the party to this extent, when she can spew so much rhetoric. Why do people let her? I don't care how long she's been in parliament. Maybe she's getting too comfortable. Comfortable as in not even caring about how she filters her words anymore. It's damaging. We don't need that representation, especially as a black person in politics. Like what are we playing on? Her and other politicians like David Lammy. Like, we've gotten the point. Let's get to the point where, when racism is a problem, let's deal with it. Let's deal with it. When there's anti-black, immigrant, anti-Muslim, whatever that may be, if it's specific case-by-case scenario, let's deal with it. But Diane is playing on very, tactical and racialized rhetoric, where it's not based on anything. And when it's not based on anything, there is an underlying political strategy come into play. Like, she's very active on social media, so she keeps up with all these cases here and there. Like, for example, with the Ian Wright situation, where last week Ian Wright posted, seeing see, that's her right here, revealing racist messages from a teenager, a 14-year-old teenager. I'm gonna make a video on that. I guess it was sorted out and everything, and people showed their support for that. I'll go over it for next time. But as you can see here, Diane Abbott has posted a tweet saying Ian Wright says about racist abuse online. These messages still hit me so hard. I know how he feels. And right after this tweet, she started, she posted that video. It's like, okay, you've used one case scenario from a celebrity, might I add, and you've turned, your politics on the left, and you've racialized it, right? This case here, this tweet here, yep, she's going on a roll right now, racializing everything, right? Okay, so a UK rail worker dies of coronavirus after being spat on whilst on duty. And of course, it's sad, it's repulsive, it's there needs to be justice. Can we find the person who, essentially attacked this woman and led to her murder? But then I feel like someone like Diane Abbott, when she raises the case, which is fine, has spun it around and racialized these cases and made it into a problem, us versus them. I'm a Black British person in this country. I know what racism in this country may feel like. I understand the climate in this country. I've grown up here. I know how white people are. White people in this country are. Like, it's not the same everywhere. That's what I know. And the thing is, when it comes to a case-by-case scenario, I will not let it depict the whole, political climate, because it just wouldn't make sense. But she's playing on it. This woman, this politician, she's playing on it right now. She could say that she represents her borough because of, how culturally diverse it is. It has one of the largest percentage of Black Brits in London and the UK. So she feels like she needs to speak out, be the voice for her constituents. But right now, what do we need to really be fighting on racially? Like, what points are you making right now? Maybe she's projecting what she's seen, overseas, across the pond, where everything's really racialized to a certain extent, and now she wants to drag it on over here. Like, can we focus on real issues, please? It's damaging to let this woman speak out like this at the wrong time. Like, she should not represent the Labour Party. I'm not a fan of the Labour Party. I'm gonna raise my views in another video, but she is making them even worse, just spewing rubbish right now. She is not needed right now. Jeremy Corbyn should not have put her in that position. Who is greenlighting this woman to speak when it's not necessary? Like, what is she doing? Focus on the real issues. Yeah, continue to talk about the death cases, due to this pandemic and the climate. Just you focus on these things. Don't racialize this. Don't, please. And please, people out there, just when she speaks, don't let her represent the rest of us. We have nothing to do with it. We have nothing to do with her. Whatever she says, even if you see people support her, that has nothing to do with the majority of Black and Asians, living in the UK, born and raised, or working. We're doing, what we can. We all want to be treated the same. We don't need, or